And now, live in full color, from Television City in Hollywood, Chrysler Corporation presents Jack Benny, Liberace, Jane Mansfield, Vincent Price, Rod McEwen, Tony O'Brien. Starring in Shower of Stars, the brightest stars of Hollywood, brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, maker of the 5 great cars of the forward look. Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, and the exclusive Imperial. Chrysler Corporation, the forward look. And now here is your host, Bill Lundigan.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Shower of Stars. Once again, Chrysler Corporation is proud to present a man who for many years has been an outstanding comedian, an outstanding violinist, an outstanding showman, and right now he is outstanding in the hall. Will you come in and sign in, please?
Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your mystery guest for the next hour. You know, this is the first Shower of Stars in 1957, and I must say that although I enjoyed the holidays, they really left me exhausted. I mean, you know, all those great, big, glamorous Hollywood parties, I'm glad they're over. I got so tired reading about them. You know, there's just so much your eyes can take. You know? But tonight, I believe we have a very good show. I hope so. And we have some of the most impressive guest stars that we've ever had. I mean, now, for music lovers, we have Liberace. For art lovers, we have Vincent Price. And for just lovers, we have Jane Mansfield. And then from Universal International Studios, we have a very fine young actor by the name of Rod McEwen. He's 23 years old, and he reminds me very much of myself when I was his age, you see. Except that when I was 23, I was 32. And then from the Bob Crosby Show, we have the very beautiful and talented Joni O'Brien, who makes me wish that I were 23 again, you see. And, of course, all of these artists get paid. You know, they get very, very good money, and I get a little myself. So I would suggest that the next time you go in to buy your Chrysler Corporation car, that you say, not only say that Groucho sent you, tell him Benny begged you. And in that way, not only will you get a good car, but my bank book will have that forward look. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from 20th Century Fox, bring you their newest glamorous star, Miss Jane Mansfield. Jane? Hi, Jane. You know, this is the first time I've seen you since your brief appearance on my show, and I want to congratulate you again on your appearance in your picture, The Girl Can't Help It. I thought you were wonderful, and you look like $1 million.
Well, thank you, Jack. That's a wonderful compliment.
Well, I'll say it is. That's 116,000 after taxes, you know. You'll find that out as your career progresses. By the way, did you have fun making this picture?
Oh, yes, I loved every minute of it. Everyone was so wonderful. The producer, the director, all the stagehands just went out of their way to be nice to me. In fact, do you know that they followed me home every night?
Well, of course, they have such a friendly bunch, you know, at 20th Century Fox.
I noticed a couple of Paramount fellas in the crowd, too.
So did I. I wish you wouldn't walk quite that fast. I'm still out of breath. But tell me, Jane, what qualities does a man need to attract a very, very pretty girl like yourself? Take me, for instance. What would you expect of me, let me say?
Oh, well, I'd expect you to be pleasant.
Yes.
Courteous.
Yes.
Considerate.
Yes.
Generous. Attentive.
Yes.
You missed a beat.
Well, I got 4 out of 5. I only missed one.
I know, but if you'd gotten that one, you wouldn't have needed the other 4.
Now, wait a minute, Jane. You mean to say that a girl would only go out with me on account of my money or something?
Oh, no, Jack. No, I wouldn't say that. Why, lots of girls don't even care about money.
Yes, I've seen those girls, and they look like nothing.
Well, you know, you go into a bookstore, you want to buy the best book, it'll cost you the most money.
I don't want to buy. I just want to browse around. But, Jane, you know, I know that we're taking up a little time here, and I would like to discuss the sketch that we're going to do later in the show, the play with you. And I think, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will meet you in the cafe across the street, and we'll discuss this play we're going to do over a cup of coffee. You know?
Oh, fine. I'd love some coffee.
Oh, well, good. I'll buy you a cup, too. Right. And I'll see you.
See you later.
Okay. Goodbye. Wonderful girl, really. I've only talked to her 5 minutes. She already has me hooked for a cup of coffee. There goes my first New Year's resolution. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of the outstanding personalities and showmen of this year or any year, the great Liberace.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of Shower of Stars. And now your host, Bill Lundigan.
Hi, Lee. Hello, Jack. You know, I just got back in time to hear the finish of your number. It was great.
Thank you. You say you just got back. Where were you?
I was over in a cafe with Jane Mansfield. You know, I think she's kind of stuck on me. She let me buy her a cup of coffee.
Oh. Well, after the show tonight, she's letting me take her out to dinner.
Well, say, you are generous.
If you got that one, you don't need the other 4.
I know.
You see, I didn't miss a beat.
No. Say, by the way, where is your brother George?
Oh, he's around here somewhere. George is so excited about the sketch. You know, it's the first time he's ever had a speaking part.
Oh, yeah. What was that line we gave him again?
Well, it comes where I say, "Isn't that so, George?" And he says, "Right."
You know, it's a shame we have to change the scene and we have to take out that word. It's too bad.
Oh, I wish you'd told him that sooner. He's been rehearsing all week.
Rehearsing all week for the one word?
It took him 3 days just to get his mouth open. Yeah. And I know he's going to be so disappointed. But,
You got another line that's very funny, if you'll remember. He had laryngitis all year before he noticed it.
That's right.
Well, anyway, somebody better get the laugh on this thing. Well, Lee, I'll tell you what. I'll call George out and I'll tell him about this change.
Oh, I'm sure glad you don't have...
Oh, George! George, come here a minute, will you, please? How are you, George?
Right.
You know, I have a bit of sad news for you.
Right.
We had to change the scene, so we, had to take out your line.
Right.
Shame. He does it so well.
He's brilliant.
Well, he should know. Fellas, I have to introduce the next entertainer now, so you wait here, will you? And I'll just introduce...
Right.
Catching. Ladies and gentlemen, in introducing this next young artist, I want to say that he's already a very, very fine actor at the age of 23. And he'll soon be seen in his Universal International picture called Rock Pretty Baby. And he's not only an actor, but he's a singer, and he's a songwriter, and he's a poet and an author. The things that he does. Mr. Rod McCune. You know, Rod, I cannot get over, it amazes me how versatile you are. I mean, besides being an actor, to be a poet and a singer and a songwriter and an author. I mean, is there anything that you can't do?
Well, Jack, I can't play the violin.
Well, would you be interested in taking lessons? See, 3 nights a week with his own rosin. I have enough competition the way it is. Hey, Rod, how about singing that number that became so popular, the one you recorded called Happy as a Boy Named Me? Huh?
Well, Jack, when I wrote and recorded this number, it was a solo. And tonight I think I'd like to try it as a duet.
Well, of course, I don't sing very well, but if you want me,
I mean with Joni O'Brien. She's waiting backstage, and we've got a great arrangement.
Oh, well, then I'll introduce her.
Oh, fine.
You just stay over here and wait. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Bob Crosby Show, this very talented and beautiful young lady, Miss Joni O'Brien. Talented, yes, but Bob, I introduced Joni.
Well, Jack, Joni O'Brien has been with me for 3 years on daytime TV, and this being a nighttime television show and her first big break, I thought she'd feel a lot more comfortable if I were to introduce her.
Oh, well, go right ahead. I'll just wait right over here then.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first, I would like to thank the wonderful fans who look in on my program. Seen every day, Monday through Friday. I'd like to thank them for their very kind letters, for their loyalty, and for their grateful appreciation. It is very flattering to a performer like myself who is on the air so very often to know that I am ever welcome into your home. I have always tried to bring you the very, very best in musical entertainment. And your continued interest in the Bob Crosby program has proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that I have had some small measure of success.
Who is he introducing?
Himself.
But I am not here to talk about the Bob Crosby Show. I am here to talk about one of the entertainers on the Bob Crosby Show. Oh, and if I must say this, I'm so proud of my show. It is so gratifying to an individual like me to realize that the work, the results of his energy and his efforts are so universally appreciated. Hey, Jack?
Right.
But as I told you before, I am here tonight to make Joni O'Brien of the Bob Crosby program feel a little more comfortable. Joni O'Brien of the Bob Crosby Show.
Do you mind if I take over from here?
Well, if you think you can make it, Dad, go ahead. Be nice to her. Well, good luck, Joni.
Thank you.
Joni, would you like to sing a duet with Rod McCune?
Well, I'd love to.
Well, go right ahead. He thought I couldn't make it.
Happy are the hands that yours hold on to.
Well, happy are the eyes that your eyes see.
Happy is the girl that you belong to.
Happy is a boy named me.
Happy is a girl named me.
Happy is the sky that shines upon you.
Happy is the day that knows your sigh.
Happy is a boy that you belong to.
Happy, oh happy am I.
Happy, oh happy am I never knew about spring before you came.
I never knew what your smile could do.
Well, now all the rivers are a-singing your name, and spring is so much the likes of you. Happy, 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 happy. Happy are the hands that yours hold on to.
Happy are the eyes that your eyes see.
Happy is a boy that you belong to.
Happy is a girl named me.
Happy is a boy named me.
Happy are the hills where you go walking. Happy is the world wherever you be.
Happy is a boy who sits here talking.
Happy is a girl.
Happy is a boy.
Happy.
Oh, happy are we. Happy are we.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the cultural part of our program. Our next guest is that celebrated actor and art lover you've seen so many, many times on the $64,000 challenge. His contest with Edward G. Robinson and jockey Bill Pearson will go down in history. alongside of the Lincoln-Douglas debates, the Dempsey-Furpo fight, and the Georgie Jessel-Rita Hayworth romance. Here he is, that walking book of knowledge, Mr. Vincent Price. I mean, what's the idea of the isolation booth? Huh?
Well, Jack, I've done so well in here, I just hate to come out.
Imagine. Vincent, tell me. Vincent, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Vincent, I'm sure that our viewers would like to know how it feels being in an isolation booth. I mean, what are your views?
Well, Jack, it's very cozy. There's a lot of privacy in here, and you don't have to worry about people dropping in on you. I look at it as my home away from home.
Well, Vincent, you have been in as many isolation booths, probably as any living contestant, you know. And have you any preference? I mean, is there any isolation booth that you like best?
Oh, definitely, yes. I favor the mahogany above all other types. Of course, walnut is good and white oak isn't bad, but don't let anyone try to sell you a maple isolation booth.
Oh, I won't. I mean, they'll never trick me into that. Well, I think we've milked this gag long enough. So you can come out now.
Jack, I'd rather not. You see, I suffer from agoraphobia.
What's that?
It's the opposite of claustrophobia.
What's that?
Well, rather than explain, I'll come out.
Did you pick those up in Bermuda?
Oh, no, Jack. These are isolation booth shorts. All the contestants are wearing them. They're the very latest thing in quiz clothes.
I thought you were on another show, Lose Your Pants. But they're lovely.
Yes, I don't know what I would do without them, Jack.
No, it must be a great help, to have the air, whipping around your knees when you're in there thinking of some hard, difficult question or something. Yes, I imagine. But, you really amaze me. I didn't know that you were that clever, that you knew so much about art.
Oh, Jack, art has been my hobby all my life. In fact, you might say my perennially dedicated avocation.
Well, you might say it. I wouldn't.
Jack, do you collect pictures?
Oh, a little. I mean, as a matter of fact, last summer I was in Rome, and I made a television film, which incidentally will be shown, this Rome film will be shown on my Lucky Strike show Sunday night, you see. And so, of course, while I was there, I collected a few pictures.
Oh, did you happen to collect a Da Vinci or a Verrocchio or a Modigliani?
No, but I have a Lola Brigia that's a loot.
I thought you had something really exciting.
Vincent, you've been in that booth too long. Listen, speaking of art, I'd like to tell you something. I don't know whether you know this about me or not, but next Thursday night, I'm giving a concert in Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Orchestra directed by Alfred Wallenstein, you see. And as a matter of fact, it's the same concert that I recently gave in Carnegie Hall where I played Mendelssohn.
Oh, yes, I remember reading the review in the New York Times. It said that Mendelssohn lost.
Oh, I've beaten the best of them. If I can make the weight, I'm going to take on Rimsky-Korsakov. Now, Vincent, you see, later on in the show, you see, you're going to play the part in our sketch of a district attorney so it would be asking you too much if you put on trousers.
Oh, not at all, Jack. In fact, I brought a pair along for just such an emergency.
Oh, well, good. I would suggest that you put them on right away so you'll get used to working in them.
All right.
Now, be careful when you hit the freeway. I imagine that...
But it's easy to find out for yourself why so many people are switching to the cars of the forward look. Visit your dealer this weekend and see how styling and engineering leadership has built more value into Chrysler Corporation cars. See, drive, and compare. Switch to the 1957 cars from Chrysler Corporation, Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, and the exclusive Imperial. Ladies and gentlemen, we now utilize the various and somewhat dissimilar talents of Jack Benny, Liberace, Jane Mansfield, and Vincent Price in a stirring courtroom drama. We take you now to the courtroom where the trial is about to begin.
Very nice courtroom. There's the judge's stand, the witness box. Hey, look at those two pictures. A $1 bill and a 5. Tell me, Miss Blackstone, are you nervous?
Oh, no, not at all. I just know I'm going to have you completely cleared of your murder charge.
Good. Good. Yeah, tell me, Miss Blackstone, how did a pretty girl like you happen to become a lawyer?
Well, I didn't want to be just a dumb blonde. And besides, I've always admired Louis Pasteur.
Yes, he was a fine lawyer. Now, I'm terribly worried about our district attorney. You know, they say he's very tricky and he won't, he just won't give up.
I know. I went out with him once.
Well, Miss Blackstone, we meet again.
Yes, Mr. Finster, I certainly hope you conduct yourself better in a courtroom than you do in a taxicab.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that we're in court now, and it'll take more than a slap in the face, a few scratches, and a loud scream to defeat me this time. Mr. Barkley, if you will change your plea to guilty and save the state the expense of a trial, I'll see to it that all you get is 50 years.
50 years? Yeah, I'll be 89 when I get out.
Before or after taxes?
Mr. Finster, you're in violation of every code of ethics and court procedure. I demand that you leave my client alone, or I'll make a motion for a mistrial.
Very well, if that's the way you want it. But don't think a pretty face will save you.
Thank you.
Not yours, hers.
Court attention. All rise. The Supreme Court of the State of California is now in session. The Honorable Judge Stanley Baldwin presiding.
People of the State of California versus John Barkley. Is the district attorney ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Not quite, Sidney.
Take your time, dear.
Your Honor, I object.
Objection overruled.
But, Your Honor.
Shut up! People just can't take overruled for an answer, eh, George?
Tell me, Miss Blackstone, how do you happen to know the judge so well?
He's generous.
Oh.
Your Honor, the defense is now ready.
Thank you, darling. The clerk will call the jury.
Jury will enter and be seated.
The jury bothers me.
Oh, no, don't worry. I picked every one of them myself, and I think they're going to be on our side.
Maybe I shouldn't worry.
Your Honor, I object to that jury. Who's defending our shores?
The court objects to the objection on the grounds that it's objectionable. Eh, George? Proceed with the case.
Gentlemen of the Navy, I mean jury. On the afternoon of November 10th, 1956, Humphrey T. Fowler was shot to death in the cafe which he owned in conjunction with his partner, the defendant John Barclay. Now, the defendant's beautiful counsel will try and tell you that Barclay shot Fowler in self-defense. Huh. But don't you believe her.
While the court agrees and sympathizes with the jury, it must uphold the dignity and decorum of this jurisprudence. There will be no more hissing, gentlemen. It looks lousy. You may call your first witness.
Will Officer Coleman please take the stand?
Mr. Barclay, I know we can't lose, but in case we do, could you please pay me my fee now?
What do you want from me? First coffee, now this.
Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Take stand.
Officer, will you please tell the court what happened on the afternoon of November 10th, 1956?
I was in my prowl car. The time was 4:03. I got a 501 at 602 108th Street. I made the arrest at 4:07, was back on duty at 5:09.
Can you please tell the court exactly what happened in your own numbers?
Well, I got this 4:07 at 5:21 to proceed to 846 109th Street. That was the cafe. Mr. Fowler was lying on the floor dead.
Now, did you see the defendant?
Yes, sir. He was standing over the body with a smoking revolver in his right hand and his left hand in the cash register.
Is it a crime to be left-handed?
Your witness?
No questions?
In that case, officer, 23 skidoo.
Now, if it please the court, I would like my client to take the stand.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Hi, fellas. I was in the Navy myself. Great Lakes Training Station.
Your Honor, I object.
The defendant will please refrain from trying to influence the jury and leave that to his lawyer, who is much better qualified to do the job. Sure is a lot better than traffic court, eh, George?
Now, Mr. Barclay, suppose you tell the court what really happened the night your partner was killed.
Well, a customer came into our cafe and ordered a cheeseburger sandwich.
Mm-hmm. Please continue.
Well, while I put the cheeseburger on the fire, the customer laid 20 cents on the counter. See? So I saw my partner ring up a no sale on the cash register and put the money in his pocket.
Uh-huh. And then what happened?
Well, I felt that half of the 20 cents was mine, so during the struggle, my gun went off.
Your witness?
Isn't it a fact that the night before the murder you had a violent quarrel with your partner?
Well, of course, it's no secret that there has been friction between he and I.
You mean between him and me?
Yes, between him and me. Well, anyway, I was in the other room there, laying down for a while, when all
You mean
of a
you were lying down?
when suddenly my partner walked in, so I got up and I took off my apron and lied it on the table.
You mean you laid it
Now
on the
cut that out!
My client is on trial for the murder of his partner, not the English language.
Objection sustained and overruled. The court must remain impartial.
Gentlemen of the jury, as district attorney, it is my duty to prosecute the state's case against John Barclay to the limits of my ability. It is not the nicest thing in the world to send a man to his death in the gas chamber.
It stings.
But we must suppress our personal feelings and weigh the facts of this case in the cold light of reason. We must look upon the defendant, John Barclay, not as a fellow human, not as a member of our community, but as a brutal, callous, ungrammatical murderer. And so, gentlemen, when you go into that jury room, remember it is the duty of every individual to uphold the law, no matter what the consequences to the culprit may be, so that the safety of our system may be upheld. And, gentlemen, when you come out of that room, I beg you, I beseech you to bring back a verdict of guilty and wipe this blot from the escutcheon of society. Don't I remind you a teensy-weensy bit of Clarence Darrow?
Your Honor, I object. The district attorney is padding his part.
Objection sustained. Strike out that last gag. The counsel for the defense may proceed with her summation.
Boys, I'm not going to call you gentlemen of the jury because I feel that I know you all too well. Eddie, Joe, Steve, Tom, Dave, Mike, Pat, Sidney, Matt, Cyril, Herman, Julius. My client is accused of murder. Now, does he look like a murderer? Look at him. Look at him.
Fellas, look at me. Oh, well, it's for my own good.
Boys, I address you not only as a lawyer, but as a girl. A girl alone and beset by a cruel and heartless district attorney. Isn't it only fitting and proper that I should turn for help to 12 red-blooded American boys? The district attorney has strived to convict my client. He's used every trick shown us all his while. My client. Plain, hard-working, conscientious, law-abiding citizen. I want you to listen to him as he makes one last plea for his life.
Fellas, this is more than just a man on trial for his life. This is the story of my lawyer. A sweet young girl who is merely trying to win a lousy murder case. If you come in with a
If you come in with a verdict of guilty, you will not only be sending me to the gas chamber, but look what you will be doing to her. I'm not pleading for myself, because I'll be gone. Not so loud. My worst will be over. But then she'll have to go through the rest of her life thinking about losing this case. Fellas, you cannot let her down.
Gentlemen of the jury, you have heard the evidence on both sides, and I wish you would come to a speedy and just decision. The reason I ask you for speed is because tonight I must leave for Palm Springs, where I'm opening at the Chi-Chi Cafe for a 10-day engagement. After that, I have a one-nighter in Salt Lake City, after which I go to Chicago for an engagement at the Chez Paris. Now, if you happen to be in any of these places, please drop in and see me. I'm sure you will be well entertained. Thank you, gentlemen, and now will you retire to the jury room and come back with your verdict?
Boys, you don't have to go into the jury room. Why don't the 13 of us just stay right here and give our verdict now?
Right. That word was cut.
Proceed with the verdict.
Your Honor, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Hooray for the United States Navy.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Why are you celebrating?
Well, I like to be on the winning side.
In just a moment, you'll meet Sylvia Sidney, Leif Erikson, June Lockhart, and Cameron Prudhomme in a preview of next week's exciting climax program. But first, your host, Bill Lundigan. Look, this clock is turning time back.
We want to take you back to an important date. That was the date that Chrysler Corporation first showed you this. Push-button drive control. Simply push a button, and away you go. Simple, mechanical, push-button driving first from Chrysler Corporation. But that was 14 months ago. Since then, Chrysler Corporation push-button controls have been proved in nearly 1 million cars with a forward look that have been driven over 5 billion miles. And for 1957, Chrysler Corporation's push-button control has been teamed with a great new transmission, new push-button torque flight.
99% of your driving is done with just the D button. But you also have 2 bonus buttons for extreme driving conditions like rocking out of mud, sand, or snow. Or for extra braking effect when you're going down a very steep hill. This new, more advanced push-button control is yours with push-button torque flight. The best combination of smoothness and acceleration in cars today. And look where it's located. At the left, safely out of the reach of children.
This coming weekend, make a date with your dealer to try new push-button torque flight. It's another example of Chrysler Corporation's engineering leadership. Remember, only Chrysler Corporation makes push-button driving available to you in every model, in every price range. Ladies and gentlemen, next on Climax, the Gold Dress. It's the compelling story of a woman's love which endures even after her death. Sylvia Sidney plays the part of Luella Wheaton, the possessive heiress who refuses to let death end her love for Richard Carmichael, played by Leif Erikson.
Luella, there's something I've got to say. It's terribly important that I say it now. I'm going to marry Janice Marshall.
Richard, you can't. You belong to me. I'll never let you go, never.
June Lockhart, as Janice Marshall, the girl Richard loves, also warns him of Luella's sinister power.
Don't you know, Richard, Luella's dangerous. She's trying to possess you. Oh, Richard, once and for all, I want you to leave her.
Even Judge Marshall, played by Cameron Prudhomme, senses that Luella is the last of a violent and powerful family, will stop at nothing.
Luella, you know that your family, the Whedons, never let go. Not even in death.
There's no power in the world that can keep Richard from you.
Next week on Climax, Stephen Vincent Benet's famous story, The Gold Dress, starring Sylvia Sidney, Leif Erikson, June Lockhart, Cameron Prudhomme. Incidentally, to you folks in the Washington, D.C. area, I'll be at your auto show tomorrow and Saturday and hope that you'll drop in and say hello. Now, this is Bill Lundigan saying thank you and think twice when driving. Once for the other guys.
Coming on Climax, January 24th, Circle of Destruction, starring Dale Robertson, Beulah Bondi, Skip Homeyer, Joe Mantell, Karen Steele, and featuring Harry Belliver and Peggy Morris. Shower of Stars has been brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, maker of these 5 great cars. Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, and the exclusive Imperial. The forward look. Chrysler Corporation. Art Gilmore speaking. Portions of the preceding program were pre-recorded. Shower of Stars has been selected for viewing by our armed forces overseas and is a CBS television network production.